Hey folks, welcome aboard. Today we're counting down 10 of the best cheap cruising sailboats you can still snag without sinking your budget. These aren't shiny new builds. They're proven classics with solid bones, perfect for coastal hops or even crossing oceans. If you're dreaming of life under sail but need to keep costs in check, this list is for you. Let's dive in. The Beneteau First 285 is a cruiser racer that strikes a nice balance between performance and comfort, especially for folks who want something nimble without giving up basic cruising amenities. Built from the late 1980s into the early 90s, this 28-footer is light on her feet, handles well, and can actually be fun to sail even in light wind. Inside, she's more comfortable than you'd expect from a boat under 30 feet. There's a little galley with enough room to make a proper meal, a surprisingly usable head, and sleeping space for 4, maybe 5 if you're friendly. You won't be hosting big dinner parties, but for a couple or a solo sailor, it works. The build quality is solid, and the systems are relatively simple, making this an approachable project boat or weekend cruiser. It's a great fit for someone who wants to dip a toe into coastal cruising or explore the local islands without needing a 40-footer. You'll find used ones all over Europe and North America, often well-equipped and at very reasonable prices. The Beneteau First 285 is living proof that you don't need to spend a fortune to have real fun on the water. If there's a sailboat that defines affordable cruising in North America, it's the Catalina 30. With over 6,000 built over a few decades, these boats are everywhere, and that's a good thing. It means you can find parts easily, get solid advice from other owners, and almost always snag a great deal. This boat punches above its weight in interior space. You step down into a cabin that feels more like 35 feet than 30. There's a full galley, proper navigation station, decent head, and sleeping space for 4 to 6 people if needed. The layout just works, especially for weekenders or liveaboards on a budget. Sailing-wise, the Catalina 30 isn't flashy, but she's reliable and forgiving. Great for learning, easy to single-hand, and comfortable under sail. Most come with inboard diesels, usually universal or atomic 4s, and if those have been maintained, they'll keep running strong. What makes the Catalina 30 stand out is its mix of comfort, price, and availability. For coastal cruising or hopping around the islands, it offers a whole lot of boat for very little money. The Hunter 30 is often overlooked in the budget cruising world, but it really shouldn't be. Produced mostly in the 1980s and 90s, this boat offers a ton of living space and decent performance at a price that's hard to beat. You'll find them all over the used market, usually well-equipped and ready for coastal adventures. One of the standout features of the Hunter 30 is the interior. It feels wide open, with plenty of light and good headroom. There's space for a real dining area, a comfortable V-berth, and an aft quarter berth that's usable for adults. The galley's functional, and the head's not cramped. Something you start appreciating real quick on a smaller boat. Underway, it's a steady sailor. She might not point like a racer, but she tracks well, and the systems are generally simple. If you're new to sailing or just want a forgiving cruiser that won't give you headaches, it's a smart pick. Hunters sometimes get a bad rap for build quality, but with proper maintenance and a good survey, these boats hold up. For someone looking to cruise on a budget with a bit of comfort, the Hunter 30 is a solid deal. The Morgantown Island 41 is a heavy, full-keeled cruiser designed with comfort and livability in mind. If your goal is to move aboard full-time or sail off into the sunset at a slow and steady pace, this is a boat worth looking at, especially since the older models can now be found at very affordable prices. This boat isn't about speed, it's about space, stability, and simplicity. With its center cockpit layout and massive beam, you get a proper aft cabin that actually feels private, a generous salon, and a galley with real counter space. The head even has room to stand and move around, a luxury in many boats under 50 feet, let alone 41. Sailing performance is best described as comfortable, not quick, but what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in security. It's a great platform for a family, or a couple looking to cruise the Bahamas, or even take on longer offshore legs with the right prep. There's a reason so many of these are still out there and still going strong. The Morgantown Island 41 is a budget cruiser's floating condo, and it'll get you there in slow, roomy style. The Albin Vega 27 is a classic small cruiser with a cult following, and for good reason. Built tough in Sweden during the 60s and 70s, this little boat has a surprising number of ocean crossings under its belt. She may be only 27 feet long, but what she lacks in size, she more than makes up for in grit and practicality. What makes the Vega special is how seaworthy she is for her size and price. Her narrow beam and long keel give her a smooth motion and chop, and her reputation as a blue water underdog is well earned. This is the kind of boat that proves you don't need a huge bank account or a huge boat to go far. The interior is basic but smart. There's a little galley, a head, and enough space for 2 to cruise comfortably, 3 if they're close. She's small, yes, but manageable, and that counts for a lot if you're sailing solo or on a tight budget. Best of all, they're out there, often well-maintained by passionate owners, and still very much within reach. If you want a cheap, capable cruiser that's got history and heart, the Albin Vega 27 might just be your ticket. The Contessa 32 is a true classic, known for its seaworthiness and traditional lines. Designed in the early 70s and built primarily in the UK, this boat gained legendary status after several notable ocean crossings. What makes her stand out, especially among cheap cruisers, is how capable she is offshore. Her narrow beam and full keel give her excellent tracking, and while she's not particularly fast, she'll keep moving when the weather gets rough, calm, steady, and reliable. Inside, the Contessa 32 keeps it simple. It's cozy, even tight for some, with lower headroom than modern boats, but the layout is smart, with a compact galley, a proper chart table, and comfortable bunks. Storage is decent if you pack like a cruiser, not a pack rat. This boat is often a favorite among solo sailors and couples. It's easy to handle, extremely rugged, and offers a sense of safety that few boats in this price range can match. While you might need to invest in upgrades, autopilot, modern nav, or new sails, many Contessas are already well cared for by previous owners who knew what they had. For a small but serious cruiser that can go the distance, the Contessa 32 remains a standout. The Pearson 365 is a center cockpit cruiser that punches well above its weight in terms of livability, comfort, and value. Built from the mid to late 70s, it was designed with long-distance coastal cruising and liveaboard life in mind. The center cockpit layout allows for 2 private sleeping cabins, one forward and one aft, which is rare in boats under 40 feet. Down below, the space feels almost house-like. There's standing headroom throughout, a roomy galley, a dedicated nav station, and a surprisingly large head with a separate shower stall. If you're planning to cruise with a partner, or even full-time, this layout really shines. Under sail, the Pearson 365 is steady and forgiving. She's not a racer, but she'll keep you moving comfortably and confidently. Her long fin keel and skeg-hung rudder offer a good blend of maneuverability and stability, especially in rougher water. These boats are well built, with thick fiberglass hulls and straightforward systems. That simplicity makes them easier and cheaper to maintain, and because they're not as flashy as some other models, you can often find great deals. For cruisers who want space, comfort, and a boat built to go the distance, the Pearson 365 is a top contender. The Swan 36, built during the late 60s and early 70s, is a true pedigree cruiser. While the word Swan usually means expensive, the 36-footer stands out as one of the few models that sometimes dips into the cheap category, especially for what you get. Designed for offshore performance and long-range cruising, this boat was ahead of its time. Under sail, the Swan 36 is a dream. Her sleek lines, powerful rig, and quality build translate to a sailing experience that's both fast and reassuring. She tracks beautifully, balances well, and handles heavy weather like a champ. If you're looking for a cheap boat with serious sailing chops, this is your girl. Below deck, you'll find a traditional layout: a V-berth forward, saloon amidships, and a galley and nav station aft. The woodwork is classic, often beautifully aged, and the build quality throughout is unmistakable. It's not huge, but it's elegant, functional, and full of charm. Finding a Swan 36 in good shape at a budget price takes some digging, but they're out there. If you're the kind of sailor who values performance and heritage over luxury space, this boat is a sleeper hit. The Ericson 32-2 is a sleek, sturdy cruiser built during the late 70s and early 80s. It's one of those boats that manages to blend solid sailing performance with good interior space, and you can still find them at a price that fits within the cheap cruising category. At sea, this boat is quick, agile, and responsive. It's fun to sail, especially if you're stepping up from a smaller boat or want something that can still hold its own on a race course while being a capable coastal cruiser. It balances well and handles moderate to heavy conditions with a sure-footed feel. Below deck, the Ericson 32-2 makes good use of its volume. There's decent headroom, a full galley, a comfortable saloon, and an enclosed head with shower. You'll often find a quarter berth aft, which is perfect for sleeping underway or storing gear. It feels bigger than it is, and that's a win in a 32-foot hull. The systems are generally simple, and the build quality is respectable. These boats were built with attention to detail, and many have held up impressively. For someone who wants solid performance and comfort in one affordable package, the Ericson 3222 is worth a look. The Viking 33 is a Canadian-built cruiser from the 70s that flies under the radar, but quietly delivers a lot of boat for the money. With its long waterline and moderate displacement, it has a smooth, capable feel under sail and offers a touch more performance than many cruisers in this category. Underway, she's quick and steady. The Viking 33 was designed with performance in mind, and it shows. She's got a balanced helm, handles a variety of conditions well, and can be sailed efficiently by 1 or 2 people. If you're looking for something that's both responsive and comfortable, this boat checks the box. Below, the interior is simple but practical. You get a V-berth forward, main saloon with settees, a compact galley, and a proper nav table. There's also a head with a bit more elbow room than you might expect. It's not flashy, but it's functional, and for many cruisers, that's the sweet spot. These boats are still affordable and can be found with solid gear. With a bit of TLC, the Viking 33 becomes a capable, comfortable cruiser that's easy to maintain and fun to sail. And that wraps up our look at 10 of the best cheap cruising sailboats you can still buy today. From rugged little blue water legends to roomy coastal cruisers with space to stretch out, each of these boats proves you don't need a fortune to live a rich life under sail. Whether you're dreaming of weekend getaways, full-time cruising, or just finding the right boat to start your journey, there's something on this list that can get you out on the water without sinking your budget. If one of these boats caught your eye, let me know down in the comments. And if you've sailed or owned any of them yourself, I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, stay safe, sail far, and chase that horizon.